Hi there, welcome back to my channel. I'm Trevor Zerke, chiropractor and coach of ATX Rehab and Performance. And today's just gonna be a quick little in-depth exercise tutorial for a movement I've been liking myself personally, as well as giving to a lot of my one-on-one clients who've been loving it as well too. Now these are videos I would like to post to my social pages, but with the way TikTok and Instagram work, I don't really get the chance to. So instead I save them for you guys. As a thanks for being on my email list, or if you messaged me on Instagram that you wanted access to this video, this is the type of content I like to give you guys, which is usually reserved just for my one-on-one clients. And while we're briefly on the topic, I will give a shameless plug for my one-on-one coaching. If you're someone who's had any long-term lingering pain or chronic issues, or you're someone who's active, who's had a nagging injury that just hasn't seemed to gone away, I offer one-on-one coaching that specializes in working around specific cases like that. I use the knowledge and skills I've learned through my chiropractic practice and apply it to an online setting where we can work remotely towards your one-on-one goals of getting over whether it be low back pain, tight hips, you name it. And not only do we just work to resolve those issues now, but we prevent them from coming back in the future. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I'll leave a link in the description below here. But enough of that plug, we'll get into the tutorial for today's video. And that's on these cable deep squat holds. We're kind of workshopping the name still. As is with most of my movements, I usually just call them what they are. And this is you simply take a cable and you get in a deep squat and you hold that. But there's a little nuances that I think make a big difference to how you perform it. So I wanted to make an in-depth guide here. So let's take a look at the footage and we'll kind of analyze it and go over the cues together. So first and foremost, I'm doing this on a cable machine that almost every gym should have. Whether you go to a commercial gym, a private gym, or an apartment gym, pretty much every single one of these has one of these cable pulley systems, so that's my preferred option here. However, if you don't have that or you work out at home and whatnot, a heavy resistance band works the exact same. The main thing we're looking for here is versus a static deep squat hold where you would just be using something to hold yourself and kind of pull yourself in. We want something that's going to provide resistance that's pulling you towards it. So cables work great because that weight stack is pulling you closer and you have to resist that. And that's what's going to allow us to engage those deep hip flexor muscles, your low back, to sort of maintain that position. And that's how we can start opening them up and building mobility in those positions. So anything that can sort of provide a little bit of resistance. Again, I've used these with people who only have access to thick resistance bands, but my preferred option here is the cable. So once we have our resistance of choice, it's pretty simple. We keep that resistance tethered nice and low. So if that's a resistance band, tying that low to a pole, or if you're on the cables, doing it at the lowest possible setting. And that's because as we squat down into position here, now it's also low, so it's pulling us down and forward, so we have to resist kind of back this way. Versus if we had it tied really up, it's almost gonna be trying to pull us back there, and that just makes a little bit more awkward movement. So you're going to sit in as deep of a squat as you can hold. Now, I know I have pretty good mobility, so I'm sitting there pretty much bottomed out in the squat, and I can still maintain a relatively neutral low back. I know that's not realistic for a lot of people, so go to what you can currently manage. One tip I will say is if you want to get in a similar position like that and you just find biomechanically it's hard to get there, try using something to elevate your heels like shown in this clip here. So when we prop your heels up and it's almost like you're sitting like this, it makes it a little bit easier for your knees to travel forward and get into a more deeper position like this, more upright, where you don't have to hunch over and bend your low back. Because the purpose of this is that we're working on that low back strength as well as the hip mobility. So we want you to maintain a semi-upright position. A little bit of rounding is okay, but I don't want you to have to feel like you fully hunch over to get in that bottom position. So we kind of find the depth on our deep squat position here. And then what we're gonna do is think about letting that band pull you forward, and you're gonna swing your hips forward. So if we take a look at this angle, you can really see myself sit back and push my hips forward. Now that's what I mentioned when we're using our low back. We're almost tucking your hips sort of forward, pushing them forward and pushing your low back straighter. And you'll notice when you do that, that really engages your hips and opens them up this way. It's really similar to if you've ever done the butterfly stretch, that similar feeling where a lot of the inner thighs, those hip flexor muscles are gonna be opened up and your low back's gonna be straight, and you'll kind of find that right position where you feel really tight and everything feels like it's on a stretch. That's the position we want. And we're just gonna be holding that position for anywhere from 20 to 30 to 40 seconds. The first time you do this movement, I think around 20 seconds is a pretty good starting point. So with my clients, a lot of times I'll program 3 or 4 sets of like 20 seconds, 1 minute off, 20 seconds, 1 minute off, and repeat that way. Then as they get better, we'll start progressing with time first. Now, that seems really simple, but this is where, if you have the cables option, we can play with it a little bit more because we can increase the weight that you're being pulled, and now we can start strengthening all those muscles we're actually working on the range of motion for as well. And that's where we make the big distinction between can you just get in this position and can your body be comfortable and strong in that position. The analogy I like to use with my clients a lot of time is it's the difference between being able to just bend over and grab something and being able to bend over and pick up something heavy. Having the range of motion and mobility to just bend over and do that is one thing, but having the strength in that range of motion to be able to do something extra, that's where we're looking at big mobility gains. And that's where I think you start feeling a lot better in your body and you can start doing things that you didn't think you could ever do again. So as we start putting on more weight and loading up and getting stronger in that movement, that's where it's really important to emphasize that we're always trying to keep that tight back position throughout the movement. Because as we start doing these more and you're getting up to 30, 40 seconds, you're going to gradually be wanting to kind of be pulled in by the weight. And our main goal here is we're just resisting that, almost thinking of pushing into the ground, back and away from that. And that's how we build up the strength in those muscles in this movement. So that's it. It's not too complex, but I do think that little bit of nuance makes a huge difference in terms of what we're shooting for with this exercise. And I think if you apply that to the exercise and give it a try, you'll be loving it as much as I have and my other clients have been. So go ahead and like and save this video. I put timestamps in the front, so next time you want to watch this for maybe a brush up on it, you can just jump right to that part where we talk about the exercise. Also, while you're at it, if you're on your YouTube app, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. I know I send these out as exclusive videos from my email list anyways, but in the near future here, I'm going to be posting public YouTube videos on this channel as well. So if you want access to those, you might as well. That's kind of the whole mantra behind the office rework. If you notice, it's different from the last video, which don't show anyone else this. I'm only trusting you guys, my exclusive email list guys. But the final product doesn't include this huge gaping white space, but I need to get a nail for this sweet sign. Look at this. Look at this bad boy. My mother-in-law actually made that for me. I gotta hang it up, but I gotta get a nail. So actually the final product will look a little like this. Right? Are we seeing the vision? So that's what it'll look like. I haven't got to it yet, hence why I haven't posted a YouTube video yet. But again, I trust you guys. I know you guys don't judge me, so thank you. So be on the lookout for videos like that in the future. But until next time, thank you for watching. Drop a comment if you have any questions. I'll answer them as soon as I can, but see you soon.